What's up, homies? Welcome back to a new series I'm doing called The Field Report, where I go out, I see some local bands, and I tell you how I feel about their performance. During this series, I'll be giving bands a rating from 1 through 10, depending on how I like their performance. And this is just my opinion. And remember, opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one, and we all think each other stink. Alright, so I attended Frights Sounds over the weekend on Saturday, October 25th, and I saw some of the bands there. Unfortunately, I did not get to catch every band that played, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about the ones that I did see. Okay, the first band I saw was called Tough on Fridays. They're like a three-piece femme rock group. They're a little emo, lots of grunge heaviness to them, super tight. My favorite track by them that they played was Nosedive, which absolutely ripped. They called it their heaviest track, and I would fully agree. They also covered All I Wanted by Paramore, which is a pretty common cover, I feel like, but it was way more than your standard cover of it. I felt like it wasn't just like fucking karaoke of it. Like, there was some real unique energy that they put into their cover of it, and I liked it a lot. Their vocals were super locked in, their harmonies were especially really tight, and they have a very talented drummer. That drummer was locked in. That drummer was beating the shit out of the kid in the absolute best kind of way. Overall, I would 100% see them again, and I'd probably give their performance an 8 out of 10. The next band I saw was called Ariah Falls. Their whole vibe was heavy as hell. It was kind of like metalcore that was just flirting with deathcore every once in a while. They had some cleans and some harshes, and they had this real bouncy energy to them, and you could tell that they were very happy to be there and be playing, and they were happy to see some fans out there to see them. Their energy was infectious, but they had a little bit of some technical problems that went on during their set. During the set, you could see the harsh vocalist repeatedly saying that he couldn't hear anything in his in-ear monitors, and I think this was also the case for the clean vocalist too, probably, and that's because pretty much all of the clean vocals were out of key, off key, which was a little rough to listen to at times. My other small critique is that whatever chain they were using for their harsh vocals, and maybe the gain was a little too high or something, occasionally you would just hear this kind of unpleasant crunch sound emanate from it. My favorite track from them was Death Scythe, which was probably the heaviest one they played to me. I want to go and see them on a night where their tech is actually behaving, because you can tell the songs themselves go stupid hard. For their sound that night, I'd give them a 6.5, but for their energy, I'd give them a 7.5. Like, they really brought it. The next band I saw was Last Daze. Last Daze is somewhat of a local legend group here in San Marcos, Texas. Before Last Daze played, there was an announcement. One of the bands that was supposed to play the bill that evening, Honey Bunny, had a close friend pass away earlier that day, which is very unfortunate, very saddening. His name was Wayne Holtz, and from what I can understand, he was a real sort of creative force in that band that actually helped introduce the members and help the group form. Last Daze ended up dedicating their set to Wayne Holtz that evening, which was a really stand-up move from them, I would say. Like I said, Last Daze are kind of local San Marcos legends here. They help a lot of the scene come to life around here. Their set was kind of pop punk meets post-hardcore with these harsh vocals thrown in at just the right moment. I especially love when the dynamics of clean to harsh matches the dynamic of the song. They were nailing that. Mitchell Myler, their lead singer, he was very solid on vocals the entire evening, especially when he leaned into more of that grit sound. I really love their track Zip Codes. I love the vibe of this like hyper-local pissed off anthem that everybody can kind of rally around, and it has this really, really dope sense of camaraderie to it. The guitarist ends that song with a super sick run of natural harmonics too, which is very pleasing to the rocker ear. I do have some notes on their crowd work. It was not my favorite. Mitch kept calling the crowd pussies over and over, and he sort of roasted people that were doing Sober October, which was just personally not my favorite vibe. I thought it felt kind of tired. I get hype work, I get kind of this like chaos talk vibe, but I think there's a way to do that without shaming people that don't drink or just being straight up insulting to your crowd. I will say there was one crowd work bit that he did that I liked, which was where he was like, boo us if you're having fun. Nah, for real, boo us if you're having fun. And I've never seen a band booed in joy before, so that was fucking hilarious to see. I really love that. Overall, I'd give their performance a 7 out of 10. I really love their sound, but I thought their crowd work could use a little bit of improvement. The next band I caught was Chernobyl The Secret. They had the commitment to all play in skeleton onesies, which was quite a fucking commitment here in Central Texas, which, as you know, the weather can be very gross at times, very muggy, very humid, very much like soup outside, call it soup weather, and you could tell they were struggling a little bit to get through their set wearing those fucking onesies. They were honestly my favorite new discovery band of the night. Their riffs were super nasty, their breakdowns were great, and I really loved some of their tempo changes, especially the ones that were leading into the breakdowns. That was really fucking good. The guitar in their mix was a little bit quiet, but honestly, with the energy they brought, I didn't feel like it mattered at all. One of the favorite things that I liked about their songs was that They really had this kind of fusion to them of like this kind of ambient sound with like industrial, and kind of like how Kitty back in the day would mix this sort of like industrial beat type sound with like hardcore guitars. And they also, you could tell there was a little bit of a djenty and sci-fi tone to what they were doing. Very cool. Altogether, I would give them an 8.5 out of 10. That was my favorite new artist of the evening. Alright, and the final band that I saw was HateWaker. I really love HateWaker. I've seen them before, so I'm a little biased on these guys. They're fronted by Ricky Fullen, who is one of the organizers of Frights Sounds, so a big thanks to him for helping put this event on. They call themselves metalcore. I'm going to have to call bullshit a little bit. I think they're some of the hardest local deathcore around right now, right here, right now. Their drums were fast, accurate, loud, super tight. Their guitars were scorching, but still clear enough in the mix that they didn't just become like a static mess. And my favorite part of HateWaker are their vocals. Their vocals are unreal. Ricky has this like crazy high scream. It reminds me of early Chelsea Grin, just an absolute face-melting shriek to it. I love it so much. That's my personal favorite style of vocal. And their effects were pretty cool too. Their lights were synced to their kick drum, they were flashing red and strobing to the breakdowns. Very cool. At this point, you could tell the crowd was kind of cooked. I mean, bands had been playing for probably like 5 or 6 hours already. Ricky was still hopping over the monitors and slamming into the crowd, getting a pit going. They brought it for real. Even though everyone was tired, they still were able to pull out a really good set, I think. I had a great time. Altogether, I would give their performance a 9 out of 10. That would be my favorite group of the evening. Alright, that was the last band I saw. I do want to give a huge thank you to everyone that made Frights Sounds possible, especially Mitchell Meitler of Our Last Daze and Ricky Fullen of HateWaker. This festival ran under the constant threat of storms basically this whole weekend, and I cannot imagine the logistical nightmare it is to get all those bands together and organized to play at specific times. It must take a huge amount of responsibility, commitment, and work. So much love to them for putting this on. So much love to them for putting this on. The 78666 has some fucking scary, talented bands in the area right now. I really encourage you, go out and support your locals. Go out and support your locals. I don't want to hear fucking shit about how there's no heavy music in the area, because honestly, if you say that, you just don't have any ears. It's out there. It's ripping. Go and catch a show. Buy a t-shirt. Support your local scene, because it's there. Hopefully coming up soon, I'll have some coverage of the Alchemy Collective show I went and saw over the weekend as well. Down in the description or caption, I will drop the ats of the bands, and you can go and check them out, maybe support them, buy a t-shirt or something, and I'll see you next time.